everybody. Welcome to Mediation and Beyond YouTube channel, where I am honored and so excited to be talking to Chijioke Ibeku, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. He's a lawyer, certified mediator, counselor, and author. He's also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers, a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, and an alumnus of St. Gregory's College and Abuja State University. Chijioke is a firm believer in God, whom he says without him, he is nothing. He's written and published books on mediation and property management. He has written a handbook on the contemporary facets of mediation, understanding the principles of property management. His hobbies are playing and watching football, yes, listening to good gospel music, and playing table tennis. He's happily married with not one, but 4 children. God bless him. So welcome, Chijioke. I'm so excited to have you here today with me. Thank you for coming on. Very appreciative.
Wow. Thank you so much, Colleen, for having me. It's so much of a pleasure for me to be on your platform. Thank you very much, Colleen.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on today is because obviously we both have a love for mediation. And it's so nice to be having, meeting people, especially with COVID going on. Everyone obviously on Zoom, meeting people. And I'm so appreciative to be able to meet somebody across the waters who also has a love for mediation. And one of the things that I have an interest in is getting the different perspectives about what's going on in the world of mediation on a global perspective. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, which is interesting to me, is one of the first, so people can get to know you, is what got you into mediation to begin with?
Wow. Okay. Well, I've always loved mediation. Like I'm 20 years post call. I've been called to the bar for almost 20 years. So, and as one gets older, you want to carve a niche for yourself. You want to be more comfortable in a field where you know you live legacy. And I just told myself, I took an overall assessment of my person, and I came to the conclusion that it would be well for me to pursue a career in mediation as I get older. And I felt deep down within me, and I still have that strong feeling today, that indeed with mediation, I shall indeed have legacy. I will speak for me generations after I must have long gone. So mediation to me is, is a process where I feel people are more fulfilled. People do not leave. When people have disputes, they have that feeling that, yes, nobody is feeling, oh, if I had gotten a better lawyer, or if I had paid more money, or if I had done this or had done that, because it's a practice process. So it speaks from within. So mediation to me, I like seeing people after sessions being fulfilled. People knowing that technicalities did not play a role in what happened. It was just us as human beings voicing out, airing our opinions, and coming to terms that what the opinion Mr. A must have aired was not in tandem with what Mr. B must have said. So the mediator only guides that process to make sure that these opinions, as far as they may be, come to a conclusion or come to a point where they'll both, augur well to a settlement agreement. So basically, I feel more at home with mediation, and I feel indeed, as I get older, that it will be a place that where my name will speak volumes. Years after I must have gone, so I decided to key into mediation, and I got trained, and today I'm a certified mediator.
Do you find that in your homeland that mediation is becoming more popular, becoming more of the norm?
Wow. Well, I'm not, if I say so, then I'll be deceiving you. But I think it's emerging. It's emerging at a very great speed. People are getting involved in it. People are speaking about it, even in the courts. Before you have any matter that is attended to in court, there'll be a pre-hearing, and pre-hearing is kind of mediation process. There'll be a process for you to see how you can, navigate through that problem, to see whether it can be resolved out of court without coming to the court. So, well, to a great extent, I say, yeah, we're doing very well. We're doing well. It's emerging, but it's emerging at a very good speed, and I'm indeed pleased with what we're doing here.
So I have a big interest in the family courts and family issues. Is that something where they're trying to send people more to mediation in the using divorce or family separations or family issues, is trying to help people resolve those with mediation as well?
Wow. Okay. I just had a session, not about less than 2 hours or less than 3 hours today. I had a session with an American. Her name is Tina Baldwin, and another Indian. These are experts in mediation, family mediation. And I'm going to join you. One of these days, I'll invite you for us to have one over it. So basically, as it is, going back to your question, in Nigeria, we hold, in Africa as a whole, we hold the institution of marriage very sacred. It's a very sacred institution. So before you begin to talk about divorce, it will be very extreme. Before you get involved in divorce, it will be an extreme point, an extreme way in fact, where it has to be life or death. Before you start talking about, even at that situation, it's even very difficult. But be that as it may, now this generation, they are divorcing at a very fast rate, but now there are no place that, to the best of my knowledge, it's still a court process. The mediation process has not been well provided for them to recourse to instead of going to the court for divorce. So that is why people like me in my space, I'm trying to, even though I abhor divorce as a person, and I wouldn't want to even entertain it within my own field, but people like me are beginning to say, okay, rather than go to the court, why don't you mediate? And I'm spreading this message because, particularly for me, well, like I told you, I abhor divorce. But particularly for me, my interest is for the children. The children. Because if the children if care is not taken, they are psychologically damaged. Most of them lose their identity. Most of them don't become what they are meant to be in life because of the process their parents must have put them through. So for that reason, I decided this Saturday, just a few hours ago, to hold a session, and I'll hold one with you some time ago, subject to my convenience and yours, where I was trying to bring to the fore that if you have to, even though I detest it, but if you have to, bear in mind that whatever you're doing has to be in the interest of the children. Because if you think that the process will only help the two of you, it will help the generations to come if it's not properly handled. So for me particularly, why I waded into what I did today with the panelists I talked to was because of the children. And I don't know if I mentioned to you, I've written a book on mediation, and a particular chapter was dedicated to family mediation. And in that book, I raised the pertinence, how pertinent it is to bear in mind and for it to be very, very, very to be brought to the fore, the custody of the children. That is very paramount. Because whatever you do, the two of you can decide to walk your ways or go your different ways, but the children have to be provided, their psychology has to be intact for them to, be what they are meant to be and, do well in life.
Yes.
So basically, in summary, it's the family mediation process in my client in Nigeria has not been well established, but I'm hoping that as the years go by, what we're doing in our spaces, like I'm talking to you today, I've just talked to Tina and Mansi from India, and other people reaching out to other spaces, that it will broaden and eventually know how to manage it. Because basically, like I said, for me, I kept, during the COVID, and even now that the COVID is still on, I have a popular mantra. I said there is no better time for mediation than now, because of the numerous advantages mediation has. If you talk about all the phases of mediation, if you talk about the phases of the advantages stand out clearly from family mediation. One very, very important is that confidentiality for the children's psychology tomorrow. That process that gives room for confidentiality, the process that gives room for preserving relationship in the interest of the children. So in that line, be that as it may, that is why I told that line of saying, if you have to, even though it's sensitive, if you have to, make it a cordial process because of the children involved.
Absolutely. The children are tantamount to the whole divorce process or separation process. First and foremost, it's about the children. That should be number one. And you did reference that you wrote a book. Can you speak to that a little bit? What was your book about the facets of mediation, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, my book covers all the areas of mediation practice. Are you talking about commercial? Mm-hmm. Are you talking about community? Are you talking about commercial mediation? I talked about it. Are you talking about community mediation? I discussed it. Are you talking about the family? Are you talking about the inheritance mediation? I talked about every area of mediation one can think of. I mentioned it in that book that when you read it, even the man on the street, the people that are not well lettered, even the person that has not been well lettered, It's a very simple book. It's written in a very simple language. Anybody that can read or piece two letters together can read the book. It's so simplified. You don't have to be a graduate. You don't have to go to school as such. All you just have to have the ability to piece two letters together, and you'll read that book comfortably. It's on Amazon as I speak to you.
It's on Amazon, and that's where people would find it on Amazon. What's the title of that book, Chijioke?
Handbook on the Contemporary Facets of Mediation. Handbook on the Contemporary Facets of Mediation.
And I will put that in the details, so anybody listening to this will be able to find that and go on Amazon and get that. So
thank you so much, Colleen. It's worth reading.
Absolutely.
It's worth reading.
Let me ask you as well, Chijioke, do you see any cultural differences in the mediation process, or do you see mediation working the same across the cultural landscape?
Wow. Well, that is where there are a bit of differences. For instance, as regards, I'll give an instance in community mediation. The challenges I face in my community here, I'm sure will not be the same as you face in the United States of America. For instance, I know the community mediation I face, for instance, in my traditional home, I'm Igbo by extraction. In Nigeria, I have a lot of languages. I'm Igbo by extraction. So for instance, that if you have land tussles, I don't know how many of you have land tussles in your family that you have. I'm talking about traditional land settings, not the ones you have in urban areas, rural areas. You see, so you have to have a situation where you have people people from the same mother, not the same mother, the same people who are born of same parents. You see one person saying, okay, because of this, just a meter of land, you are willing to kill each other for. So you have situations like that where you have to say, okay, give up this space for your brother or your relation. Your relation, they have some other places they can exchange. I don't know how much you do of that without going to the courts in America. So you see, if somebody has a particular piece of land that another person wants, or that he feels is entitled to, you can say, okay, you have another one in, for example, to say you have another one in Texas, leave the one in Ohio for some other person. So, you know, you have to do an exchange to make that person feel happy. And if the person buys into that, then that matter is resolved. That land issue is resolved. And I'm sure you don't have that in America. If you had that in America, it would be to go to the court. Either you're going for first party, you're going for tort. So basically, that is what happens here. So the issues are peculiar. You can't have this particular issue I've mentioned now in my client, in yours. If it happens in yours, it will be a court matter. But mine, we can handle it traditionally or via mediation also.
Yeah, I guess it's the way they're handled, right? It's the way you go about handling them, and I think that's probably the way how they're handled can be very different. Neither one is right nor wrong. It's the way they go about and respecting. It's having that level of respect about how you go about handling things.
Yeah.
And so there is that cultural difference, but honoring the cultural differences, right?
Yes.
I think that's what mediation comes into. Is there any one skill set that you believe that mediators need to have to be a good mediator? Is there like one skill that you would say every mediator needs to have this in order to be a really good mediator?
Wow. Okay, you've restricted me to only one, but I'll say there are many. But yes. I think one very particular one that I think you should cut across all mediators for me, that is my personal opinion, is empathy.
Okay.
All mediators should have empathy. Because if you do not have empathy, you cannot appreciate the matter that is brought before you, the matter of dispute. Because you have to put yourself in that position and see how the person feels about what the matter is brought to you. If you've not done that, then you can't weigh into that matter. You'll be so distant from the matter. You won't be so committed to it. You'll just say you're waiting for another mediation session. But if you have empathy, if you put yourself in the matter, I'm not saying you should be lost in that matter, because you have to have an independent mind. You shouldn't be lost, but there should be a level of empathy where you have to accommodate their need. You have to accommodate how they view that matter. Then it gives you a clearer thought, because you've already, in your mindset, you already have an idea of how to navigate through that dispute, because you put yourself into it. You've asked yourself, how will I go about this matter if I were to be involved? So I think for me, the greatest attribute, the greatest trait any mediator should have is empathy.
You know, I like what you differentiated, saying have empathy, but don't get lost in the empathy.
Oh.
I think that was really so well said. I like that. You know, at the very beginning, and this will be my my last question to you. At the very beginning, you talked about having your legacy, right? You know, this is why you went into mediation. But what is, if you know, what is the thing you want to be known for at the end of it all for you? What is it you want to be known for? Never mind your work. Just you as a man. Just you as Chijioke, at the end of it all, what is it you want to be? You want to know that you left your mark. What is it you want to be known for?
Someone that just came and strived to be at peace with God, who gave his best in spite of our human frailty, to just be at peace with God and be good to other human beings. As you may know, I think I mentioned to you, I'm running a project on peer mediation. I don't know if you remember, I mentioned that to you, on peer mediation. And this program is to bring children at a very tender age to begin to appreciate what mediation is all about. So if we could get them that young, at that early age, when they become adults, they'll be better able to manage disputes. These disputes are better able to manage, they're well equipped to manage. We're not now degenerate into conflict as the world is presently witnessing now. So you can imagine if you have that kind of process in place, you can imagine what the multiple positive effects it will have on us as human beings. Yes, nevertheless, we all appreciate that conflict is part of our human existence. You can never get rid of it completely, but you can reduce it to the barest minimum. So that is one project I am on now, pursuing by all means. But you know, most of you in your climb are a bit skeptical when it comes to reaching out with funds for this kind of project. Well, nevertheless, we keep trudging on because we believe in our vision. We are real, we are doing our work, people have witnessed what we are doing, so we keep moving on and seeing how we can conquer. Like for instance, the schools are starting on the 20th of October. One of the projects I have is starting this on the schools will resume. So I'm meant to go to them. They're already expectant, waiting on how I'm going to introduce this project to them. And beyond that, I'm extending this, that's why I say it has a positive multiple effect. I'm extending this process beyond Nigeria. So other West African states, I've been reached out to by a parliament of young Africans who have told me to get ready to make a visit to Kenya, Addis Ababa, to make a presentation. So, you know, you have to, this is a process, but all this is come with fun. So that is what we are looking within our force to see how we can, you know, how we can generate these funds to reach out to people, because this is a very noble vision we are pursuing, Colleen.
It has that domino effect, right? Just to keep moving it forward in a positive way so that everybody benefits.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, Chijioke. I'm going to make sure that everybody hears the words that you have to say. I've really enjoyed talking with you. I could spend a very long time. I'm so glad that technology has worked for us. I'm so appreciative. And I really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Colleen. You're an exceptional person for reaching out to me.
Thank you. Very Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Your family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.